car with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Welcome to your Friday. Glad to have you along with us. Man, I'm telling you what, I really honestly have no idea what's going on here in South Carolina. I swear to you, we're supposed to be this ruby red state, but we seem to be anything but these days. We're going to have an update coming up in just a little bit, next hour, about constitutional carry. That's not looking good in our state legislature right now. It's been held up in the Senate Judiciary Committee. So today, the Senate again decided they were going to let us down. Let me read to you from PBS. South Carolina senators rejected a bill that would have banned nearly all abortions in a conservative state that has increasingly served patients across the region where Republican officials have otherwise curtailed access. That first paragraph right there from PBS is basically stating that South Carolina is now an abortion destination state. Let me read that to you again. South Carolina senators rejected a bill that would have banned nearly all abortions in a conservative state that has increasingly served patients across a region where Republican officials have otherwise curtailed access. That means states that have stronger abortion laws than South Carolina, people are leaving there and coming here for them. It was a 22-21 vote. 22-21 vote. Happened yesterday. Marks the third time a near-total abortion ban has failed in the Republican-led chamber since the U.S. Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade last summer. 6 Republicans, 6 of them, helped block motions to end debate and defeated any chance that the bill passes this year. The chamber's 5 women filibustered the proposal in speeches highlighting the Senate's male majority that they criticized for pushing debates on abortion over other pressing issues. You see, the women in the Senate think there's more important things than this. And it's the usual suspects. Republican Senator Penry Gustafson spent over 30 minutes Wednesday detailing the bodily changes throughout every stage of pregnancy. Gustafson said she spoke so long because the millions of women addressed in the bill had not been heard. She emphasized her pro-life position, but said the proposal left no room for empathy, reality, or graciousness. Now remember, she says she's pro-life, but what do we always say on this show? Watch what they do, not what they say. Because if you watch their actions, you never have to interpret their words. So Penry Gustafson, in her actions, shows that she is not pro-life. Republican Senator Sandy Senn criticized Majority Leader Shane Massey for repeatedly, quote-unquote, taking us off a cliff on abortion. The only thing that we can do when you men in the chamber, metaphorically keep slapping women by raising abortion again and again and again is for us to slap you back with our words, Sandy Senn said. The bill would have banned abortion at conception with the exceptions for rape or incest through the first trimester, fatal fetal anomalies confirmed by 2 physicians, and to save the patient's life or health. Independent Senator Mia McLeod criticized leaders who prioritized the near-total ban over efforts to make South Carolina the 49th state in the country with a law allowing harsher punishments for violent hate crimes. Blah, blah, blah. So then, Sandy Senn posted this on Facebook today. Thank you for all the notes of encouragement about the abortion fight, which we forced into for the third time in 6 months. I'm sure some of you may disagree with me, but hopefully you don't disagree that this matter needs to be placed on the ballot for the voters to decide. So now she's saying, I don't want to make a decision. Yes, I was sent to Columbia to be your representative, but this is beyond me. This is so far beyond me. What she's doing is she's washing her hands. She's trying to wash. Who else washed it? Oh, Pontius Pilate. I remember that. Pontius Pilate washed his hands, right? He said, I'm done. I'm not making this decision. That's what Sandy Sin is doing right now. She said, my own majority leader, Shane Massey, told reporters he will respond to me in 2024, but Republican leaders from other states are supporting moderate stances, and people I don't even know have started contributing to my campaign. Oh, I'm sure they are, Sandy Sin. I'm sure they are. And I'll bet those are Democrat voters. So she posted a picture of herself along with Sheely, Matthews, McLeod, and Gustafson, these 5 women. And then under it, it says, the South Carolina sister senators, united and unstoppable. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Isn't that awesome? United and unstoppable. We'll see. Because these people, Penra Gustafson, Sandy Sin, Katrina Sheely, you need to have your brains primaried out. We need some good conservative women in our South Carolina State Senate. Because Sandy Sin was one of the people that also has been fighting real hard against you having constitutional carry. Meanwhile, with all of her money, she can go out to Montana and Wyoming on vacation and have her picture taken sitting on a horse carrying a sidearm. Oh, must be nice, Sandy. Must be nice. Yeah, where you can actually go to a state where you can open carry and conceal carry and have constitutional carry and have your constitutional rights. Man, I don't know. I really don't understand. But who else agrees with them? Nancy Mace, 1st Congressional District. She's all on board. Even Nikki Haley is starting to talk this way. So again, are you really pro-life? Or do you just pretend to be pro-life? You just pretend to be pro-life? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Charlie, where's the empathy for babies? We can blame our governor for this. He's wishy-washy and silent on everything. Charlie, that's why Tricky Nikki invited Disney to South Carolina. There you go. So it's pretty amazing. It really is. It's unbelievable that, I mean, the exemptions were there. All of the exemptions that they were asking for. All of them. Rape, incest, health of the mother, life of the baby. Somebody says, 063 says, and we have a supermajority for what reason? That's a good question. Exactly why do we have a supermajority? Doesn't seem to be working out all that well, does it? We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When nasty weather strikes, stay in the know with the Upstate's largest Planning text line at 71307
This is the Charlie James Show.
on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So, 516 weighs in on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line 71307. Charlie, politicians that lie about their values to get elected should be removed and banned from all future political positions. Their campaign promises are literally verbal contracts. Well, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Why, I'm Senator Mouth, and I'm going to go to Columbia, and I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And then when they don't do this, that, and the other thing, they want you to send them back again. It is. I mean, so you hear got Sandy Sin, who, by the way, moved to another district just so she could run. So, okay, that's fine. She just wanted to be a state senator. That's the big thing. She wanted State Senator Sandy Sin in her resume really, really badly. So they all say they're pro-life because why? Pro-life wins in South Carolina. Pro-life wins. But then when it's time to actually be pro-life, when it comes time to actually vote pro-life, then all of a sudden they get squishy. All of a sudden, because all of a sudden you got all of these people knocking on your door every day when you're in Columbia. Hey, Senator Sin, you in? Yeah. Hey, I'm from Planned Parenthood. And this is just an example. I don't know that this ever actually happened. I'm from Planned Parenthood, and let's just have a little chat. Hey, we got a lot of donors, be happy to. And what did she talk about? What did she talk about today in that Facebook post? I will quote it. People I don't even know have started contributing to my campaign. Oh, so, and this is exactly what this is. You want to talk about Sandy Sin just gave the big reveal. This was her tell. If you were playing poker with Sandy Sin, this would be the tell right here. Sandy Sin. This is a campaign strategy. This is a way to get money from the weak Republicans and the anti-pro-life Democrats. That way she can go to both sides. Now, of course, she's down in the low country, and we know how that is made up. But this is a low country Republican trying to make decisions for the vast majority of South Carolina. And then you've got Penry Gibson. Boy, she's over in Camden, right? I'm right about that? I think so. So these people are blocking what Republicans in South Carolina want. They're the ones that are doing it. We'll go with 3 women because the other 2 are Democrats. Well, one's a Democrat, the other's independent, but votes Democrat. Same thing. And Mia McLeod. So this is a campaign strategy for Sandy Sin and Penry Gustafson and Katrina Shealy down there in Lexington. It's a campaign. It's all about the money. But notice the districts that all of those people are in. Notice the districts. They don't represent South Carolina. They represent their own best interest. And their best interest always comes in the form of a check. Right? Charlie, Republican is the Dems' favorite Halloween costume. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. They dress up as Republicans every few years, dress up as conservatives every few years, and then the rest of the time, they return back to normal. Their own normal selves. So I'm absolutely sick of them. And you should be too. And shame on all of you people down in the low country that keep voting Sandy Sin back into office. You need to get somebody better. Surely there's somebody down there that is better than Sandy Sin. A lot of people. You folks over in Camden, Penry Gustafson, Lexington, you guys, Katrina Shealy. Katrina Shealy was the one that wanted to use gas tax money to build new roads, when the gas tax money was actually supposed to go to repairing our roads. She wanted to build new roads in her district. So that's where we are in this supermajority Republican state of South Carolina. It really, I mean, I know how frustrating it is. It's very frustrating to sit here and hope that they do the right thing. Coming up at 4:15, we're going to be talking with State Senator Josh Kimbrell about this. Not only this bill, but also the constitutional carry bill, which is still in committee. It got passed over the other day. Doesn't look like, and we may get some new news today, but it doesn't look like it's going to make it in this part of the legislative session. Charlie, is South Carolina entirely pro-life if she's picking up new support? Well, notice she didn't say who that support was from. Notice she didn't say where that support was coming from. And no, all of South Carolina is not pro-life, because we know there are certain pockets within this state that are very blue, Charleston County being one of them. Those counties down there in the low country. That's probably, it's either that or out of state, one of the two. But I would love to go on Sandy. I'm going to check out Sandy Sin's donations today and find out exactly where they're coming from. Let's see who is donating to this woman. Good night. Okay, GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. Charlie, I'll make this short. I am blanking disgusting with our state government. Jim and Easley. You are exactly right, Jim. I am too. And I know there are a lot of people that are. That's why and then when you see members of the South Carolina Freedom Caucus who are kept out of the Republican caucus, do you know why now? Do you know why? Are you seeing why they want them kicked out of the caucus? Absolutely. Charlie, there are a lot of good people who need to run for office. The issues happening are because those people don't run for office. Yeah, you're right. You need to get out there. You need, listen, Sandy Sin is no more qualified. Penry Gustafson is no more qualified. Katrina Shealy is no more qualified than you are to run for office. There is not, I've met Sandy Sin. There's nothing remarkable. There's nothing special. She's got a little cash, got some money, living a very nice, comfortable lifestyle because of her law firm. But there's nothing extraordinary about her. There's no massive IQ. There's none of that. I mean, that's not, there's nothing really impressive about her. Please understand that. Do not put these people up on a pedestal, because that is not where they belong. They should be putting you up on a pedestal. These are not impressive people. So, if you have an inkling, if anybody out there has an inkling to run for office, by all means, do it. Please. Talk to your spouse. Talk to your family. Say, listen, something's got to change. This is what I want to do. And then do it. And then run. We have to do that. Charlie, no state is perfect, but I can tell you that very few states are as fine as South Carolina. We have a lot of good people in this state. We do have a lot of good people in this state. Unfortunately, we are lacking of those good people in our state legislature. I mean, they're kind of the go along to get along crowd, right? Even North Carolina is starting to outshine us. North Carolina is starting to do things I wish we would do here in South Carolina. And North Carolina is supposed to be far more blue than we are. In fact, they just passed a bill unanimously. When was the last time we had a unanimous bill that was passed here in South Carolina? Well, this one did. Lawmakers in the North Carolina House of Representatives passed a bill unanimously on Wednesday. We'll tell you what that had to do with when we get back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Never miss a Let your voice be heard. Call the GS Plumbing Talk Line now. 800-509-8989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
When do you think there was the last time we had a meaningful bill passed in South Carolina unanimously? Well, lawmakers in the North Carolina House of Representatives unanimously approved legislation on Wednesday to prevent state-controlled enterprises from China and other adversarial nations from owning land intended for agriculture or property near military bases. The bill is called the North Carolina Farmland and Military Protection Act, and it says that state officials have an interest to guard farmland from the potential of adversarial foreign government control in order to ensure a safe, abundant, and affordable food supply for residents of the state and the nation. Entities in which more than half of shares are controlled by China, Russia, Cuba, North Korea, or Venezuela would also not be permitted to purchase or lease any land within 25 miles of a military installation or any agricultural land. As someone, Representative Jennifer Balcom said, as someone who grew up on a family farm, preserving North Carolina's farmland is top priority. She was a sponsor of the bill. She said our state's agricultural land is one of our most important assets, and it is common sense that we protect it from foreign governments that do not have America's best interest in mind. North Carolina presently has more than 518,000 acres of farmland held by foreign entities, according to a report from the Department of Agriculture, an amount which increased by nearly 11,000 acres between 2019 and 2020. They say the Chinese entities, this is from the Daily Wire, Chinese entities own slightly less than 1% of acres held by foreigners in the United States. Investors from Canada, meanwhile, own roughly 32% of agricultural and non-agricultural land held by foreigners, while citizens of other allies like the Netherlands and the United Kingdom represent 31%. So, but still, I mean, we're not being attacked by the Netherlands. We're not being attacked by the United Kingdom. Canada, that's iffy, but still. We need to protect. I mean, China does not have our best interest at heart. Do you think China flew a balloon over the entire United States just to say, hey? No. They were openly spying on us. Openly spying on us. And what did this administration do? They let it do it. I mean, they let it do it. The entire United States. Shot it down off the coast of right here in South Carolina. But waited. They waited a long time. Yeah, there you go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Pretty amazing. Let's see. Charlie, I don't understand why that inmate, Price, is going back to prison. Make the judge who illegally released him finish out that sentence. I think they should both go. I think they should both go. The judge that let Gerard Price out decades, a decade and a half too early, because this judge was in his last day. And you know what? I mean, you look at Todd Rutherford, he might have a little bit of, a little bit of blame here too. But this judge on his last day on the bench decides to release a murderer. And I thought it was funny because Sled was like, if you could, turn yourself in, that'd be nice. That would be good. They didn't even know where he was. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Hey, Charlie, what's your email address? I want to forward you Senator Graham's non-response to my email, critical of the Resist Act. Well, if you ever want to email me, it's charlie@989word.com. That's Charlie, CHARLIE, at 989WORD.com. Charlie, I heard the vote to revoke the early release of price was 3-2. That's insane. It should have been 5-0. Oh, I agree. Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So 361 says, yeah, Charlie, let's just go ahead and shoot it down anywhere overland so we can land on someone and kill them. Shoot it down over water was the safest bet. Yeah, after it got all the way across. Remember, 361, it didn't start here in the United States. They could have shot it down over the Aleutian Islands. They could have shot it down over international waters between there and Canada. They could have done any of that, but they chose not to. Okay, so quit making excuses for your lame administration that you are so fond of each and every day. Do you know how much land, empty, open, wide open spaces, they could have shot that balloon down on? Do you know how many thousands and thousands of acres? No, because you've probably never been in a plane. Okay, again, give us a call. GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. But that's a good thing that North Carolina did. And North Carolina is doing some good things now. And I just have this horrible feeling that pretty soon, I mean, you can take out Mecklenburg County. You just throw that out, Charlotte. That's gone. That's leftist. But everywhere else around it, there's hope in North Carolina. There's hope there. And I don't want us, we're already jealous of Florida. I don't want to be us, for us to be jealous of our neighbors to the north as well as the south. I think that would be a darn shame. And if we keep doing things the way we've been doing them, we're going to keep getting the things we've always gotten. And that is an electorate that is wildly disappointed and a state legislature that is wildly disappointing. So we need to do something about it. And when it comes election time, please do not forget these things that happen, because all of a sudden they're going to come out with real flowery language. They're going to hire experts to come in and make sure that their banners have the right colors that catch your attention, the right colors that evoke an emotional response. They're going to have their radio and television ads just worded so that's going to inspire you. All of these things, all of these little tricks that they play with their advertising, they're going to try to do that and make you want to vote for them. Oh, yeah, that guy, yeah. Oh, yeah, that lady, yeah, I'm going to vote for her. You need to go back and look at their voting record. Because remember, again, if you watch what they do, you never have to interpret what they say. And that is true time and time again. There is no reason that we should be jealous of any state. So there was a listener who emailed Lindsey Graham about the Restrict Act, okay? This is what Lindsey Graham said. Thank you for contacting me regarding S686, the Restricting the Emergence of Security Threats That Risk Information and Communications Technology Act, or the Restrict Act. It is my job as your United States Senator to keep our nation secure from foreign actors and to protect the privacy of American citizens. As the Senate considers this piece of legislation, I will keep your comments in mind. As your United States Senator, my primary job is to understand and represent the interest of all South Carolinians. The opportunity to hear from you about these issues confronting our nation is not only as simple, and from there on, it's cut and paste. It's cut and paste. So remember, Lindsey Graham was on with Jesse Waters talking about the Restrict Act. And we all remember what Lindsey Graham said, right? He said, maybe I'm not for the Restrict Act. Remember that? He didn't even really know what the Restrict Act was. That's a darn shame. It really is. So there's Lindsey. Let me see. I've got this. I've got this clip somewhere. Here it is. This is Jesse Waters, Lindsey Graham in that interview about the Restrict Act.
You got to be kidding me, Senator. Did you read this?
Yeah, I don't think I support the Restrict Act.
You don't support this because you were named as one of the supporters, because this is garbage.
Is this the one with John? There's two bills out there.
Lord.
One allows a review of businesses that are connected to China, give the secretary the ability to protect our data. Is that the Restrict Act?
We got S686
Yep, that's it.
right here,
Yeah.
March 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a bunch of Republicans supporting it because this thing is crazy town. You don't want
Yeah.
the government looking into your private phone.
No, I don't.
If
And
they have a
can't.
hunch you're colluding with the Russians, we remember how
Yeah,
that turned
that's
out.
Right. Yeah, no, well, the Constitution trumps a statute. So let me come back and, give you a better explanation.
Come back.
Here's the problem as
Yeah.
I see it. China is the parent company of
Okay, but here's the thing. Is it China that we really need to worry about? Because what we have found out recently is that the United States government has been spying on you without a warrant. And he was talking about how the Constitution trumps statutes. Well, apparently not. You have been spied on. We'll have that story for you when we get back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
line.
It's 71307.
It's the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So, the Constitution of the United States, through the Fourth Amendment, protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. Okay? Unreasonable searches. Not all searches and seizures, just the ones that are unreasonable. So what would you call unreasonable? Well, those that don't have a cause. The Department of Justice has just announced on Thursday, the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz testified before the U.S. House of Representatives and admitted that a law that was designed to, remember, let's go back for just a second to the Restrict Act that Lindsey Graham may or may not be for. It is a law. They always put this out there. This is here to protect you. We're making this law to protect you. And then what do? They do a whole 180, and they use this law against you. So a law designed to protect Americans has been weaponized against them. Horowitz admitted to Representative Matt Gaetz that the FBI has done 3.4 million warrantless backdoor searches of Americans' communications. 3.4 million. Representative Gaetz said, I want to get into the 3.4 million backdoor searches that a ranking member pointed out in his opening statement. Mr. Inspector General, how should the public think about those? Well, Horowitz said, I think what we've seen is various reports, and I'm limited in what I can say about what's public, which I think is one of the issues. By the way, that's worth talking about is transparency here. Listen, there was a 30% error rate in these searches. 30%. That means over 1 million people were spied on by the United States government with absolutely no cause, completely by mistake. Completely by mistake, or so they say, right? When asked how many people can use FISA to perform backdoor searches of Americans' communications, no one seems to know. So it's not just the Department of Justice. It could be the IRS. It could be the Department of Homeland Security. It could be the Forestry Division. It could be the military. It could be the FBI, the CIA. Any of the alphabet agencies apparently can do a warrantless search on you. So remember that next time they come to you and they say, oh, we're doing this to help you. What did Reagan say? The most frightening words in the English language. I'm from the government. I'm trying to help you. I'm here to help you. We all know that's not the case. So there you go. There you go. Oh, my goodness. Really is crazy. Really is nuts. And what is more nuts is there are people on the text line right now defending the Biden administration. That's scary in itself. Defending them. So you, hey, Charlie, so there are 2 million Americans that need to be spied on? I know, right? American citizens that need to be spied on by the United States government and whatever agency decides to get a FISA warrant. Now, we know how those FISA warrants have gone, right? We know how the FBI, they've already been caught lying to the FISA courts to get these warrants, like with Carter Page. When you know, in the Steele dossier.
You got a caller.
So they go to the judge and they say, hey, we would like a FISA warrant. The judge says, well, there's no reason for me to give you a FISA warrant. So they take the story and they leak it to BuzzFeed and to Yahoo News. BuzzFeed and Yahoo News run the stories. Then they take the stories back to the judge and say, here's the evidence. And the judge says, okay, that's how they do it. Anybody still trusting these clowns? I am not. Let's go to Christina in Travelers Rest and talk to her. Christina, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
And it was so good
started
it was so good to meet you the other night.
Yeah, that was so disorganized. That was
It was
an
crazy.
eye opener.
Yeah.
So, it was good, very good to meet you too.
Thank you.
I started to lead off with the quip. Too late. This is regarding the Chinese buying up the farmland. Started to lead off with too late, Ethel. But then I remembered you're too young to understand that reference. Anyway,
Ethel, you're talking about
too late, Ethel.
Yeah.
That was from way back on the record, The Streaker. Anyway, you're too young to.
Look out, Ethel! Too late. She done been mooned. I remember that.
So I'm a bicyclist, and years ago, doing the bike tour that goes all the way across North Carolina, I think the day before the end or so, we were in Sampson County, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we were camped out and with all our tents and whatnot. And it just so happened that they were setting up for the county fair. And so they have all these booths and whatnot. And so walking around and whatnot, these, and remember way back years ago, the North Carolina hog farms, would get into trouble for putting their swill into streams,
the lakes
whatnot.
and streams. Yeah.
Right, but I think they cleaned all that up. But at one of the main businesses there in Sampson County is pork farms or hog farms.
Mm-hmm.
And in speaking with these people at these booths, and this is years ago, they said the Chinese have bought up half of the pork farms.
Yeah.
Big, huge, pork farms in North Carolina.
Wow.
Half of them.
Wow. Christina, I appreciate you calling in. I'm running out of time here, but apparently the Chinese have been doing this for a long time. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
from high atop Hogback Mountain.
We're covering the Carolinas like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Mulvaney believes I should go to jail. That's right, Dylan Mulvaney. He believes that I and people like me should go to jail. Why does he say that? Well, we'll let him explain it to you.
Like the articles written about me using he pronouns and calling me a man over and over again. And I feel like that should be illegal. I don't know. That's just bad journalism.
It's just bad journalism. That should be illegal. For me to say Dylan Mulvaney is indeed a biological male, has all the male parts, should be illegal. That's right. What are you in for? I call Dylan Mulvaney a man. Oh, get away from me, you bigot. These. So you know what's trending on Twitter right now? Right now, trending on Twitter is hashtag you are a man. Also trending hashtag Dylan Mulvaney is a man. And why are these trending? Because Dylan Mulvaney is a man. And just because Dylan Mulvaney wants to come along and you know, have this little masquerade party, it doesn't mean that we need to go. We don't need to join them. There's nothing that says we have to go along with your ruse. We just don't. Sorry. Too bad. Hate it for you. Maybe you should have been, you know, stuck to the guy you were on The Price is Right and on the Ellen show. Maybe, you know, back when you were a man. So I've got actual proof that Dylan Mulvaney is a man. There's actual proof of that. There is no proof that Dylan Mulvaney is a woman. None. In fact, Dylan Mulvaney has put out videos talking about, what was that one video he did? Respect the bulge, because some women have bulges, he said. He said. That's right. So, sorry, Dylan Mulvaney, there's more evidence that you're a man and no evidence that you're a woman. So, if the police knock on the door, that's my defense. I've got that. Hey, Charlie, you should play that song. Man, I feel like a woman, Shania Twain. Let's see. Charlie, he is a male, but he's certainly not a man. Takes more than a pickle to be a real man. You're right about that. Charlie, so you should go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, just like the game Mulvaney is playing. You're right. Mulvaney is an attention-seeking hoe, and that's all he's about. Yeah, yes, and always has been. Always has been. Nothing but an attention seeker. And this is the next way to do it. And like I keep saying this, once this, hope it doesn't, but if this were to become mainstream and become accepted, it would have to be something else. It would have to be something else. Charlie, isn't the point of journalism supposed to be to report the truth? So how exactly is that bad journalism? If you know you're telling the truth. You're right. Charlie, oh, you hurt his feeling. Call a ambulance. You're right. And I agree. Dylan Mulvaney does need to be in a mental institution. Right? But listen to this. I mean, this is what we're worried about. A trans person is suspected of child sex abuse. He was arrested at an in-home child daycare in Paulding County, Georgia. Deon Blake Keaton, an 18-year-old transgender person who identifies as a woman, was first arrested by Dallas police on February the 23rd of 3 felony counts of sexual exploitation of children, a felony purchase, possession, manufacture, distributing, or sale of controlled substances, He had meth in the daycare center. Keaton's phone and laptop were confiscated as part of the arrest following an investigation into those devices. Keaton was rearrested on March 31st on suspicion of an additional 50 felony counts of sexual exploitation of children. Rearrested. He had meth in a daycare center. Folks, if you take a gun into a daycare center, you don't get the chance to be rearrested. You're just arrested. This guy had meth. You can't smoke a cigarette in a daycare center without being arrested, and this guy's got meth. So anyway, he's rearrested. 50 felony counts of sexual exploitation of children. Though Keaton was arrested weeks ago, the daycare-connected nature of the case and Keaton's transgender identity are only now being reported. According to the police report of his first arrest in February, Keaton was found at his residence with his mother, Pamela Lynn Keaton. The home doubles as the New Beginnings Learning Center, which is a daycare run by the mother. The daycare center and the residence where Dion Keaton was arrested on suspicion of sex crimes. Keaton's first bond was at only $11,000, which was quickly paid. $11,000. You got meth in a daycare center, and your bond is $11,000. Now wait a minute, hold on, because if you think that's bad, it gets worse. Are you ready? 50 additional felony child sex crimes charges. How much do you think the bond was for that? Tim, how much do you think 50 felony child sex crime charges against this guy Keaton, how much do you think the bail was set for him at?
$100,000.
$27,700.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. $27,000. And guess what? Paid 4 days later. Good night.
I wonder who paid it.
Yeah. Well, what you go to a bail bondsman? What, you only got to pay what 10%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
It's a wonder that they even like bail those kinds of people out.
I know. I wish they wouldn't. A spokesperson for the sheriff's office said that his arrest in March, Keaton told the jail that he is trans and he was placed in a single cell unit. Oh, must be nice. So, anyway, there you go. My goodness. So when a journalist tried to call the daycare center where Keaton was arrested and spoke with the suspect's mother and the daycare operator, she denied even knowing the guy. No, not my son. I take no responsibility. So, Dylan Mulvaney, sorry, you are a man. So is this guy Keaton. I wish you would have been in jail for a lot more bail than $27,000. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So again, disappointment in the Senate. And it's not all the members of the Senate, but it's enough of them to block an abortion bill here in South Carolina. And even NPR understands what's going on. Even they understand what is happening here in South Carolina. Let me just read to you here. This is I said NPR. This is pbs.org. South Carolina senators rejected a bill that would have banned nearly all abortions in a conservative state that is increasingly served patients across a region where Republican officials have otherwise curtailed access.
Josh Kimbrell's on hold.
So what that means is even PBS is admitting that South Carolina is an abortion destination state. Joining us right now is State Senator Josh Kimbrell. Senator Kimbrell, welcome to the program, sir. How are you?
Well, Charlie, it's a beautiful day, but I'm frustrated about what happened this week in Columbia.
Yeah. So let's start with this abortion bill. Let's start with Sandy Senn, Penry Gustafson, and Katrina Shealy basically standing up against this bill. So what were their objections? I mean, we've heard them all, but I mean, there were a lot of concessions in this version of the bill, weren't there?
Well, Charlie, look, and I will say to the three that you just mentioned, I typically have a habit of not commenting on fellow senators. I'm going to say, however, with one exception here. Senator Senn has been vehemently pro-abortion, as I would define it. She attacked me for saying that about her. But, I mean, she's taken a very pro-abortion position quite stridently. She would say she's not. But she didn't even vote for the heartbeat bill. Out of 30 Republicans in the Senate, she's the only one to vote against even the heartbeat bill 2 years ago. And so I think that it's pretty clear that certainly she's the most pro-abortion senator in the South Carolina Senate. Mm-hmm. I've always really loved Katrina Shealy, and Katrina's been conservative on a lot of things. She has always historically had a very strong pro-life voting record. I will say I'm a little surprised there. I still care about Senator Shealy, and I hope that she will eventually realize, okay, let's find a way to make something happen here. But I'm very disappointed, Charlie. I mean, I've worked very hard since I've been elected to make our state more pro-life, more protecting of the dignity of every single human being, particularly the most vulnerable in the room. And, we don't have, I want people to hear this because I know that it's easy, and you're always good about telling the truth on here. And I appreciate the chance to say it here. Mm-hmm. The South Carolina Senate is not majority pro-choice. Okay. It's not. If you look at the numbers in the Senate, we have passed the heartbeat bill and the Human Life Protection Act multiple times. The reason we can't get the Human Life Protection Act is we don't have enough votes to overcome a filibuster. Now, let me explain to the audience the difference. Yeah. So because people say, well, gosh, this Republican Senate's worthless. There's not enough Republicans in there worth their salt. I understand there's been some Republicans in the Senate who've not helped us on this, and I'm angry too. Trust me, I've had to sit through the debate over and over. But I will tell you this, of the 30 members of the Republican caucus in the Senate, 24 of us have consistently voted for a protection of human life at conception with very limited, exemption. And that's the majority of the Senate, because 24 is the majority of the Senate, not just of the caucus, of the Senate itself. But to overcome a filibuster, you got to have 26 votes. We need 2 more Republicans who are really going to stand for life. And I'm pretty confident that may happen in 2024 elections. As it stands right now, we got to do something to stop being a 20-week abortion state. And the only thing that's left to do now, the only thing we can do until 2025, and I've been saying this, but I'm going to say it again, is the House has got to pass the heartbeat bill 6 we passed earlier in the session. If they do that, we go from being a 20-week state and a destination state, as you've just put it, to being a 6-week state, a heartbeat state like Georgia, like Florida, and the abortion tourism stops. We have to do that. I'm calling on the House now to do that. It's not because I don't want to go further and be stronger on life. I do, and I've proven that. I voted for it 10 different times. But right now, the only thing left is for the House representatives to take up the revised heartbeat bill we passed again earlier this year, get it back before the state court. I worked very hard with other colleagues to get a conservative on the state court, Gary Hill, to replace Kay Hearn. So the same court that ruled against us earlier in the year is not in place anymore. Right. I believe we can uphold the heartbeat bill. We need to get it passed through the House, get the governor to sign it before we adjourn in about 3 weeks. and let's go back to at least being 6 weeks. That will cut the abortion rate by more than 60% between now and the 2024 elections. And then let's campaign on life. And those that stand against life, I think, will be primary.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Certainly hope so. So let's go to the constitutional carry, because a lot of people are just so frustrated about that, because it just seems to be in limbo right now. Is that where it is?
Limbo is not the word I would give for it. I think the votes, this is again where the rules of the Senate get really frustrating. They work for us when we want to stop something. They work against us when we want to move something.
Yeah.
And that's the double-edged sword. The votes are there to pass constitutional carry. I've worked really hard to whip the votes with colleagues. And I will tell you, we have flipped enough votes to pass it now. A couple of years ago, we fell, I think, 3 votes short. I'd have to go back and look. I voted for it. Of course, I'm a co-sponsor of constitutional carry. And a few years ago, we took up this vote. I think that was in 2021. We were 3 votes shy of passing it then. We now have at least 4 votes that have flipped in favor now of constitutional carry. And I believe if the vote comes up, that it'll pass and it will become law. The issue we've had is in the Judiciary Committee. And I know I get the emails from everybody saying, well, you're on Judiciary Committee. You got to do something about it. I'm doing all I can on Judiciary Committee, but I'm not the only person on the Judiciary Committee. And this past week, there was a vote where some of the same folks that you mentioned earlier, whenever I and others voted to try to move constitutional carry forward, voted against us.
Right.
So we got recommitted for additional debate in a subcommittee. I'm hoping that subcommittee is going to meet Tuesday. Excuse the loud noise back there. Out of the sidewalk cafe, that's the danger of the cars running by.
Right.
I think we're going to have a subcommittee again on Tuesday. I'm not on that subcommittee. My friend, the chairman of the subcommittee is my good friend, Wes Clymer, senator from York. He and I have worked very closely together to advance this bill. And I believe if he can meet again Tuesday or Wednesday, we can potentially get it back before Judiciary, if Judiciary can meet again before the session adjourns, and we could still maybe get it to the floor and move it forward. I do know this, even if it doesn't happen this year, and I want it to happen this year, there is no way the Republican Senate can avoid passing constitutional carry next year and in an election year with primaries coming up. So all I can say is to quote the Bible, don't grow weary in doing good. We're very close to it being done.
Let me ask you this question, because we recently heard about this story about Gil and Gabriella Reed, whose daughter transitioned, and the school system over there in Anderson County basically helped the daughter hide from her parents. Where is the Parental Rights Act right now?
Well, we have one through the House. It passed the House of Representatives, as you know, and it's in the Senate. And we're trying to get that's also in the Judiciary Committee.
Wow.
Everything seems to be. But I've introduced the Senate version too, Senate Bill 735. It's in Family and Veteran Services Committee, which I'm on that committee, in addition to being on Judiciary. And we're going to have a hearing, hopefully, before the year is out on the Senate version, even if Judiciary doesn't move the House version. But here's the positive news on that front to the scenario you just laid out. I want the parental rights bill for a range of other reasons, because it really works to make sure that your kids are educated, not indoctrinated, that parental rights are primed, that there's an importance placed on the primacy of that parental relationship.
Right.
But Charlie, there's also a bill that Senator Danny Byrd and I have worked very hard on in medical affairs, and that is a prohibition. And I've been very adamant about this, and some people don't like that I'm so strong about it. But I'm very adamant that we're not going to let a child under the age of 18 get a sex change in this state.
Yeah.
And we're trying to outlaw that, where physicians can't do it. And there's a piece of that bill where it basically says that teachers and guidance counselors cannot conceal this information from their child. So even if the parental rights bill are from the parents, even if the parental rights bill were to continue to be stalled out for a bit, we have I think there's a fast track to move this bill pertaining to gender identity and hormone replacement therapy and reassignment surgeries on minors, particularly people under the age of 18. And that would prohibit exactly the scenario you just laid out, regardless of what happens with the broader parental rights legislation.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we got to get some of this stuff done. I'm not real sure why the dragging of the feet is happening, but we appreciate you calling in this afternoon. State Senator Josh Kimbrell, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Always good to talk to you. Let's keep the pressure up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll be right. So thanks for calling in. So last night I asked you to call your representatives. in the House Judiciary Committee. Well, apparently, one of the members of the House Judiciary Committee didn't like that too much. We'll tell you about that coming up next. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
your phone. Text 71307.
Powered by Common Sense Retirement Planning.
Be a part of the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So yesterday we were talking about this parental rights bill and how it was stuck in the Judiciary Committee over in the South Carolina House. And I told you, I didn't tell you. I don't tell you to do anything. I asked you. I said, listen, call your representative. And then I listed all of the members of the House Judiciary Committee. Well, one of them didn't like that. One of them apparently was not too happy with hearing from you yesterday. And actually, he sent me and I'm not going to say who it is. I'm going to protect him a little bit, unless he, fires back or something like that. Then all bets are off. But he said, did you even think to look at sponsors on a bill prior to telling listeners to call certain legislators? Kind of seems like that would be some key information. Oh, no, I don't. Because I think the state legislators should be reminded every now and again, in fact, more than that, quite often, exactly who they work for. And I also want to remind them that they are being watched. We are keeping track. We do not want you to get to Columbia and all of a sudden become anonymous. We don't want you to go there and just fly under the radar thinking you can go about your business and nobody is going to watch or hold you accountable. No. You need to be reminded every now and again that eyeballs are on you. And we see what you're doing, good and bad. So which I replied, it must be nice to know that so many people support the bill that you sponsored and now wanted out of committee. I thought that was a very pleasant response, right? It was, and I mean that. I mean, if I'm a lawmaker and I sponsor a bill and my phones are blowing up and people are saying, hey, we support the parental rights bill, I'd be like, thank you. I sponsored that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, constituent. Thank you very much, boss. There you go. So why are you offended when you hear from the people that you represent? Is there something wrong with that? Look, the days of darkness are over. All you folks in Washington and in Columbia, we're watching you. Because the people of the state of South Carolina are sick and tired of all of this gobbledygook that is, the mini swamp in Columbia is as bad as the swamp in Washington. I mean, it's just like you're trudging around in tar and you can't move. Nothing gets done. Everything, It's frustrating for us that want change in this state. It's frustrating for us to see people coming from out of state into South Carolina to get abortions. It's frustrating for us when we hear like states like Nebraska have constitutional carry and the 26, 27 other states have it, but we can't have it because of several absolute total horn-wearing rhinos in our Senate that are holding up the bills that need to be put out to pasture. Sandy Senn, Penry Gustafson, Christina Shealy, y'all got to go. Sorry, you may be great people according to some folks, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, sorry. We can get somebody in there to do as good a job as you're doing and do it as a conservative. That's a very good, that's not even a good possibility. That's more than a probability. That's an assurity that we can get people to replace you that will do just as good a job as you're doing and do it as a Republican or as a conservative. Okay? You are replaceable. You're not some, oh, look at me. No, you're not. Sorry. You're not royalty. You're not nobility. You're just an average citizen, and we can replace you with another average citizen. Probably even better. So the days of darkness are over. And yes, you are going to be getting phone calls. Sheely, Gustafson, Sin, your phone should be blowing off the hooks today. Although Sandy Sin says she's getting a lot of donations now. And that was it. This was basically a call from Sandy Sin today for donations. Thank you for all the notes of encouragement about the abortion fight, in which we were first forced into for a third time in 6 months. I'm sure some of you may disagree with me, but hopefully you don't disagree that this matter needs to be placed on the ballot for the voters to decide. In other words, this is something I don't really want to vote on. I'm going to wash my hands of it. Then she says, people I don't even know have started contributing to my campaign. Oh, Sandy, I don't believe that. I believe you know who they are. And I believe you know what party they're from. I have seen it. I lived down in the Low Country for 12 years. I've seen the muck and the mire that goes on there. I lived in Columbia for 12 years. I have certainly seen the muck and the mire that goes on there. So no, the days of hiding are over. The days of your phone being blown up by listeners to this station, which is now 100,000 watts. Your phone's going to be blowing up. So there you go. Unbelievable. All right. The GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. Charlie, the abortion tourism is probably bringing money into South Carolina, which is why they won't vote against it. Oh, my goodness. What a horrible thought that they would do this for money. Right? Hey, Charlie, we vote Republicans in to get our bills passed. Stay on them. That's the only reason we vote for them. You're exactly right. We want them to do what they were supposed to be. Charlie, now with your increased range, they have nowhere to hide in the upstate. You're exactly right. And even in parts of the Midlands, too. We're very glad about that. Charlie, we need a closed primary. That needs to be done quickly. But again, there are so many things that we need. But our state legislature, they know better than you. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Line now 800-05-0989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I saw this text here. It says, Charlie, horn-wearing rhinos, OMG, thanks for the laugh. Absolutely hilarious. So that got me thinking that I should buy a fake rhino horn, right? Now, listen, I know rhino horns are illegal. I got that. But I thought at least you could go online and maybe find a rhino horn decoration or something like that. Wow. How expensive are those things? Unbelievable. Holy cow. So kind of put that by the wayside there. I mean, we're talking like $500. Pretty amazing. Hey, Charlie, had a 5th grade teacher tell my great-grandson to stop praying in class. Oh, well, remember, freedom of religion doesn't mean freedom from religion. And the free exercise clause of the United States Constitution does not refer, I mean, the Second Amendment, or I'm sorry, the First Amendment doesn't really talk about what you can do. It doesn't talk about what you can do as an individual. And I think that's one of the reasons that the Democrats really hate the Constitution. They can't stand it because it doesn't really put limits on citizens. It puts limits on the government. That's what our Bill of Rights does. So it says, basically the government cannot establish a religion. But it doesn't say that you have to give up yours. Now, that's what a lot of the folks on the left want you to think, right? That's, and they'll throw out a Bible verse every now and again. So fake rhino horns fit with the rhinos. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but man, I'll tell you what, it's $500 for those things. So we're living in a crazy world. I mean, we are living in an absolutely nutty, 100% messed up world right now. It is so messed up. Do you know what just opened? Do you know what just started? It's, Tim, you've been to cons, right? Conventions. You've been to cons, right?
Yep.
What cons have you gone to?
SC Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I've been to just SC Comic-Con.
So
but I've been to multiple ones.
Isn't there like isn't Comic-Con the big one? That's the granddaddy of them all, right?
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the big one that they have in like California and all those big cities.
Well, up in Boston, Massachusetts, where they had the Tea Party, you might remember that, Boston Tea Party. There's a con that opened up this week. It was the 10th anniversary. So it was a big deal for these folks as they gathered together in Boston, Massachusetts. In fact, it was so big, it was the largest gathering in history. Tim, you know what this might call for?
A Charlie Challenge.
It certainly does. Because I know you're the smartest, hippest, most with it, most intellectual, most informed radio audience in all the land. I bring you this Charlie Challenge. There was a convention in Boston, Massachusetts, the 10th anniversary of this convention, and they're saying it was the largest ever in the history of the event. What convention was it?
A trans convention.
No, but you know what? That would have been a good answer. That would have been a good answer. What convention do you think opened up this week, largest one ever, in Boston, Massachusetts?
Oh, in Boston?
Yeah, Common Sense Retirement Planning text line 71307. Somebody says a furry convention? No, not a furry convention.
Irish convention.
An Irish convention. Look at this Irish. I mean, that's just going to the pub, right? Well, 455 got it absolutely right. Satan Con.
Oh man.
Satan Con opened up in Boston, Massachusetts. Let's take a listen to how they opened the ceremonies. Oh, MAGA. Could you imagine the evil that is floating around that room?
Oh, I know.
I mean, just think about that.
And they probably don't even see it.
No, they don't. Well,
They probably don't even see it.
You know what, though? I think they wish they would see it. I think they wish they could see it.
No, I think that if they actually saw it,
they'd run like hell.
It would scare the crap out of
It
them.
would. They would run.
So therefore, they don't actually believe it.
They would fall down on their knees.
Because if they did, if they did believe it, then they wouldn't do that. They would be running scared.
They would fall down on their knees. They would. Oh my goodness! Mm-hmm. You know they would.
Well,
they would.
Says that in Revelation.
Yeah,
that's what will happen.
Ah, my goodness! But there they are in their red and black robes. Hail Satan! They are saying. See, unfortunately we read the book, gang, and we know how it ends, right? So you're really kind of cheering for the losing team there. You may win a few battles, but we know how the war is going to go. But the fact that what a weak, less than ideology that is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's more like attention seeking.
Probably so. But you're right. I mean, they just want.
It's not real. Like what that is not like real Satanism. Like real Satanism is a lot more brutal than congregating in a building somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think real Satanists would actually gather together.
They don't.
Yeah, right?
They don't.
People that are really.
When they do, you don't know about it.
Exactly. Because they don't want, they don't want the spotlight on them.
Not only that, their rituals are very brutal.
Ooh, yeah. I don't even like to think about it. I really don't. But there we are in our society. I don't even know what convention center this thing was at. Maybe it's a good thing that I don't know. Somebody tweeted out, anybody want to show up to this thing next year with me dressed as Santa and say, oh, wrong convention?
I'm gonna go dressed as Jesus.
Hey, we're here for the Santa convention. No, guy, that's down the street. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Offering the Carolinas like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk. Charlie? Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
Did you hear at the top of the hour? Oh, my goodness. I know you're shocked. I know you can't believe it. I know you were sitting there beating on your radio going, that is fake news. There is no way that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to cost trillions of dollars more than they expected. I feel you. I feel you. We all knew that was going to happen, right? We all knew, first of all, it was not going to reduce inflation, and it was actually going to cost a lot more than the Democrats said. But no, don't heed our warnings. Everything is fine. Everything the Democrats touch goes right down the toilet. It really does. So they're come along and they say, oh, we're going to reduce inflation. Inflation hasn't reduced. It's still here. It's not transitory. It's still part of your daily life. I had to go get gas yesterday. I was like, holy cow, look at this. $50 in groceries? That's not much. That's not a whole lot these days. So, of course, it's going to cost more. And, of course, the environmental portion is going to cost more than anything else because they are just hell-bent on making sure that we break ourselves financially for the sake of the environment.
You have stolen my dreams.
I understand, but Greta, we got to stop the spending.
How dare you?
I understand that as well. So listen to this. Listen to this. This is a story from the Associated Press. Are you ready? Oh, the world's oceans. I almost hear them typing this breathlessly. Just, the world's oceans have suddenly spiked much hotter and well above record levels in the past few weeks, with scientists trying to figure out what it means and whether it forecasts a surge in atmospheric warming. Bo, we've got to do something. We've only got days left. Oh. Or do we? Or do we actually have any control over it? Their headline, Earth in hot water, worries over sudden ocean warming spike. But what can we do about it? In fact, we may have actually made it worse. Listen to this. They say that one factor, this is from the BBC, one factor that could be influencing the level of heat going into the oceans is, are you ready? This absolutely needs a Charlie challenge. It just has to. I'm sorry, it's just too good. Here we go, because I know you're the smartest, hippest, most with it, most intellectual, most informed radio audience on all the land. I bring you this Charlie challenge. According to the BBC, one of the factors that could be contributing to the oceans suddenly warming up is the lack of what? What do you think it is? Tim, what do you think? So the BBC says the lack of this could be causing the oceans to warm up. What do you think it is?
With how they always contradict themselves, I'm going to go with carbon dioxide.
You're close. You're very, very close.
Okay.
Very, very close.
Okay, so hydrogen? Aluminum?
You're getting a little closer.
Well, I heard a theory that chemtrails are dropping aluminum on people. So
aluminum nitrate.
That's why I said aluminum.
Somebody said whale farts. A lack of whale farts is doing whale farts.
I like that one.
Yeah, probably so. Poor whales. You know, they eat all that krill, get the gas. It happens. No. Are you ready? A lack of pollution.
Oh, okay.
That's right. A lack of pollution is causing the oceans to warm up. That's what the BBC said. It said one factor that could be influencing the level of heat going into the oceans is, interestingly, a reduction in pollution from shipping.
Oh
In 2020, the International Maritime Organization put in place regulations to reduce the sulfur content of fuel burned by ships. This has had a rapid impact, reducing the amount of aerosol particles released into the atmosphere. But aerosols that dirty the air also help reflect heat back into space. Removing them may have caused more heat to enter the waters. Okay. I got you. So now there's not enough pollution. Is that what you're telling me? There's just not. But here's the real reason that our oceans are warming up. And folks, there's nothing we can do about it. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. We didn't cause it, and there's nothing we can do about it. You know what that is? Geothermal activity. That's what is causing the oceans to warm up. Geothermal activity is warming the oceans and causing the El Niños. This activity, this is from Steve Malloy at Junk Science. This activity has been causing the atmospheric warming of recent decades. None of this has anything to do with emissions. Emissions-driven warming is a hoax. And he's exactly right. But they want you to think, if you jump into an electric car, you're going to help cool the ocean. And that's just not true. It's geothermal activity. In fact, over in India, they've got so much geothermal activity in their oceans, they're looking at opening a geothermal energy plant. In fact, apparently it's going to be the biggest one on the planet. And geothermal means the activity that is going on below, underneath the surface of the ocean. That's the stuff that's heating up. And how much do you, I don't care if you got an 8-cylinder car, how much is your car actually affecting what's going on below the surface of the planet? None. Absolutely none. It is all a bunch of BS. Fossil fuels have nothing to do with this. And pretty amazing. Now listen to this. If you listen to the greenie weenies out there, Tim, what do you think would be hotter? April of 1981 or April of 2023? Which one of those, according to the greenie weenies, would be hotter?
According to the Greenie Weenies?
Yes.
April 2023.
Yeah, but that's not true.
Oh, yeah.
April 2023 is actually cooler than April of 1981, despite having 133% more man-made carbon dioxide.
I saw a video of somebody talking about like other planets in our solar system, and they're also getting cooler.
Are they getting cooler or are they getting hotter?
I saw that video. It was a few years ago, but I remember seeing it because he said it, instead of global warming, we're having global cooling.
Yeah, probably so. So I think it was Wyoming. It's either Wyoming or Montana. One of those two states has just reported the largest snowpack in history. The largest, the thickest, the coldest in history. But they want you to believe that you have to get into a Prius. And Jennifer Granholm said something today about the military that you're not going to believe. Unbelievable comment. We'll have that for you coming up next. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Let's go to the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989, and we will talk to Dean out in Cashville. Dean, how you doing?
Not bad, Charlie.
Yes,
not
sir.
bad. I don't think people fully realize how valuable WORD is. You and
Thank
the
you.
other host, you know what you're talking about. And that I started to tweet this to you, but then I realized, no, it's a good example. You have discussed food shortages a lot, and people don't know how valuable your insight is. The war in Sudan is causing yet another food shortage.
Yeah.
It's called gum arabic. It's apparently it goes into pretty much everything. And they even use it in sodas to keep the flavors from separating. But Sudan is the best source. It was the most stable. And when I heard about the shortage, I thought, this is what Charlie is talking about. And I'm not saying that's the motive for the war.
Right.
But people, when you talk about things that you are concerned about, eventually it affects us all. And I just thought this is a good chance to point out, people, this guy knows what he's talking about. Keep up the good work, Charlie.
Well, I appreciate it, Dean. Thank you very much. That means the world to me. Let's go to Ray in Taylor's. Ray, welcome to the program. How are you?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. What's up, man?
Well, I got a couple of things here. What you were just talking about there, my son talked me into buying some of this 25-year food storage stuff.
Yeah.
And it came today. I got it. I ordered it,
Good.
I guess Wednesday, and it's here already.
Yeah. They're pretty
But
quick at it.
What I was going to tell you, well, I'm going to probably get some more. I was going to get some gold. They talk about it hedging against inflation. He said, Daddy, in 33, they took everybody's gold. He said they could do that again. So the president could just sign a thing and take your gold. He said, you get this food and you get ammunition to shoot your game with and for defense. And that's what you need to put your money in instead of gold. And I thought, that's a wise thing to do.
I had a very smart guy tell me a long time ago that ammo is going to be the currency of the future.
You got that right.
Could be right.
Well, the thing about it is I stocked up on some of that. But what I really called you about was that young senator that called you about that lady, those ladies going against the abortion.
Right.
Next time you talk to him, tell him to ask those ladies, what's the difference in you killing your baby at 6 weeks in the womb or wait and kill him 6 weeks out of the womb?
Yeah.
It's still murder.
But I agree with you. I mean, but for some reason, that's okay with them. They are agreeing with Democrats. And I think if you are in the South Carolina House or the South Carolina Senate and you agree with Democrats on an issue, you really need to go research that better. Right?
Amen, brother.
So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
The thing about it is.
Oh, go ahead, Ray. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. They got you cut off there. I'm sorry I didn't have control of that. But I appreciate the call. Thank you. But they gotta start thinking. 100%. I mean, what Dean was talking about the food shortages that is coming and what these idiots are doing with the climate. Do you know who this helps? It doesn't help us. Getting you into an electric vehicle does not help anybody in the United States. You know who it helps? China. Does that surprise you? China is looking to control the lithium deposits in Latin America. That's right. Lithium is the new gold, and China wants to control it. It's been called white gold in the mining industry. Latin America's lithium deposits have become the new El Dorado, a commodity conquest that China is looking to control, along with Australia and Chile. China is among the top 3 lithium producers in the world. The Asian nation also commands an estimated 80% of the global electric battery production, which is driving the current surge in demand for lithium. China has injected billions into the economies of lithium-rich nations like Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia over the past decade in a bid for preferential access to the mineral. Now, isn't it interesting that they're talking about Bolivia? Isn't that fascinating? Because guess who is supporting certain candidates in that part of the world? Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab is openly pushing for globalist World Economic Forum puppets in Paraguay and other countries like Bolivia. And you don't even have to be a great student of this stuff to realize what's going on. You really don't. Latin American countries have a long history of botched attempts at making long-term profit from resource nationalization. Amen. It's a cyclical phenomenon driven by commodity booms and inflated prices. And not only that, the fact that they nationalize all of these things helps as well. So Cynthia Granholm, she is our energy secretary, right? Supposed to be. I'm sorry, Jennifer Granholm. I said Cynthia. Jennifer Granholm. Listen to what she wants to do with the United States military in the next 7 years.
Do you support the military adopting that EV fleet by 2030?
I do, and I think we can get there as well. And I do think that reducing our reliance on the volatility of globally traded fossil fuels, where we know that global events such as the war in Ukraine can jack up prices for people back home, it does not contribute to energy security. I think energy security is achieved when we have homegrown clean energy that is abundant, like you see in Iowa. We think that we can.
You're an idiot, because we had energy independence under Donald Trump. We didn't have to worry about these global skirmishes under Donald Trump. You want to talk about where we are now? It's because of your boss, Joe Biden. And then she wants our military fleet to be all electric in the next 7 years. Could you imagine what a 2.5-ton truck, what the battery would be like on that thing? Could you imagine us going to war and we show up in a Prius? They want us to get our ass kicked. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Line now 800-050-989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. We'll talk to Phil in Central. Phil, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful.
I've heard you guys talking about the whole pro-life, pro-choice thing.
Yeah.
It's a simple debate. Did the woman decide to engage in sexual activity?
Well, in most cases, yes. In the vast majority of the cases.
She made a choice.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Then she made a choice. If I get arrested for doing something stupid the night before, like a domestic anything, do I get the right to go and say, no, I just want this aborted. I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I understand. But that when you use logic against some of these people, it just doesn't work. You might as well be talking to a rock. Because here's the thing.
A lot of rocks.
Yeah. I understand, Phil. I appreciate you calling in. But Sandy Sin said everything today that you needed to know. And when they tell you who they are, believe them the first time. The very first time. Now, we've had several of these incidents from Sandy Sin, but I want you to listen to what she tweeted or put out today on Facebook. She said, most importantly, this sentence, people I don't even know have started contributing to my campaign. Wait a minute, hold on.
Got another caller.
All of a sudden? You mean since today they've started contributing to your campaign, Sandy Sin? Yeah, not really believing that. Let's go to Gavin in Landrum. How you doing, Gavin?
Hi, Charlie. How are you this afternoon?
Fantastic. What's on your mind on this beautiful Friday?
Well, I was thinking about what you're talking about the climate change and just how ridiculous that is. And I've always wondered, isn't it like, it's not trees, it's phytoplankton or something that turns carbon dioxide into oxygen the most?
Yeah, there are little micro plants in the ocean that actually contribute to the most usage of carbon dioxide. Yeah, you're right.
Well, wouldn't it be if there's, this is pure speculation here, but wouldn't it be if there's more carbon dioxide, there would be more phytoplankton and it would kind of work like a feedback loop? I'm surprised no one ever talks about that.
Because, well, the more carbon dioxide you have, the more green plants you have. Because that's what they eat. That's what they inhale. So the world is greener today than basically it's ever been before. And if you reduce the carbon dioxide, that's going to reverse.
Exactly. I mean, if you have more food for the plants and the phytoplankton and everything, they should prosper, and then they should produce more oxygen, and everything should even out.
You're right.
At least that's how I see it. I mean, that's common sense.
No, you're exactly right. But again, you're using common sense on a bunch of people. It's really not about the environment. That's the thing. It's really not about the environment. Gavin, I appreciate you calling in. They know they can't save the environment. They know it's all about the money. Al Gore was not into this to be the great climate savior. Al Gore was in this to get rich because this is their new religion. And they pass the plate every single day. Every day. I mean, the hypocrisy. I've seen so many of these greenie weenies. They'll show up to protest a dam for climate, to protect the environment. Meanwhile, the kayak that they're floating around is made of completely of petroleum products. Their little North Face jacket is petroleum products. Their Patagonia hat is petroleum products. Their shoes are petroleum. Everything that's around them is petroleum products. And they don't care. See, it's not about the environment. They know it's not about the environment. They know it's all a bunch of BS. It's just about doing away with the petroleum industry, which Joe Biden campaigned on. And it's about the money. Now, when I say they're not about the environment, some of them are. Some of them actually are. I mean, the grassroots people, they are. But the politicians, no. It's about getting money from organizations like Greenpeace and all of these other organizations. It's about the donations. That's why Sandy Sin is doing this hard line on the abortion bill. Because as she just said in her Facebook post, she's getting donations now. This is how she's raising money for her reelection campaign. Lord, I hope that doesn't happen. We need to get her out. She needs to be, not only her, Henry Gustafson, Katrina Shealy, y'all need to go. There are a lot better conservative women out there that could do, and I said this before, a better job than you. And they can do it in the Republican conservative way. Look at what's going on in North Carolina. This is so cool. We had two things from North Carolina today. First of all, their House unanimously voted to prevent China from owning farmland in North Carolina. Good for you. And it wasn't just China. It was Cuba. It was all of these other bad actors around the globe. You can no longer own farmland in North Carolina, nor can you own land within 25 miles of a military installation. So good for you, North Carolina. Now, we really need to start looking north. The North Carolina Supreme Court has just issued a bombshell ruling that will allow Republicans in the state to redraw their congressional maps, which could net as many as 4 more Republican seats in Washington, D.C. The new ruling from the majority Republican court overturns a ruling by the prior court that blocked a new state congressional map drawn by Republicans. See, South Carolina legislature? See what a court can do? See what making the right decisions versus the wrong decisions about Supreme Court nominees can do? I mean, look at the last debacle with that Supreme Court nominee that you had. How'd that work out for you? Got the heartbeat bill thrown out. So, when will they learn? We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Yourself on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 71307.
This is the Charlie James Show
On News Talk 98.9 WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
Sam, I'm getting excited. Starting to get excited.
Why is that?
1 week from tomorrow, you know what I do?
Going to Ireland? Is it Ireland or Scotland?
It's both.
Both. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
going to both. They're going to be flying out to Scotland 1 week from tomorrow. We will be landing in Scotland on Sunday. We're going to take a train from Edinburgh. I believe we're taking the train from Edinburgh. From Edinburgh to Fife, Scotland, where St. Andrews is. And we're staying at the Russix Hotel, which is right there across from the golf course. And we'll be there on Sunday. St. Andrews, the old course, is closed on Sunday. But it becomes a public park, and you can actually go out and walk on the golf course. I'll get my picture taken at Swoken Bridge, one of the most famous bridges in golf. And then later on that evening, I will go get in line, and I will basically camp out and hope that I get a slot as a single player to play the old course in St. Andrews. It's going to be camping out all night. You know, I kind of waited. I kind of debated on whether or not to do that. And I thought, man, I used to back in the day wait in line for concert tickets.
Oh, yeah.
So why
I've done
not?
that.
Why not wait in line to play the most famous golf course in the entire world, right?
You got to weigh out if it's worth it or not.
Yeah,
And
well, it's
I
worth
think that's
it.
worth it.
It's totally worth it. But even if I don't get to play, and I have every confidence that I am, but even if I don't get to play, it's going to be a great story, and it's going to be a great memory.
Yeah.
So really, really, really looking forward to this trip. And yes,
I'm excited for you, man.
somebody asked me if I was going to try haggis while I'm there.
No, don't forget Guinness. You gotta do the Guinness.
I'm waiting for Ireland to do Guinness.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
But
so,
while
so
I'm
you're
in
going to Scotland first. And then
Scotland
Ireland.
first, and then Ireland, and
Okay.
then back to Scotland. So I'm going to try some haggis, which is, let me just tell you.
You told me once, but I forgot what it was.
It's Joe, what is, I'm trying to, because I wanted to give you a good definition. What is haggis? Let's take a look. What is
Sounds disgusting.
haggis? A lot of people say, listen to this. It is a Scottish dish. Wow, I don't even, first of all, let me say something. If you look at haggis, you will not eat it because it looks so disgusting.
The word sounds
Literally,
disgusting too.
it looks like something out of a horror movie.
That's the best food, though. Usually.
No, but this would be, the horror movie would be about the haggis, right?
Yeah. It
So
just comes
it
alive
is
and swallows people.
Exactly. It is a first of all, what is that? What is awful? Oh my gosh, it gets even worse. So it's a Scottish dish consisting of sheep or calf's organs mixed with suet, oatmeal, and seasoning, and it was boiled in a bag, traditionally one made from the animal's stomach. So they have
just basically all the organs.
It's all the organs, and then they mix it with oatmeal and some other stuff, and they boil it in the stomach.
I would eat it.
I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
You gotta do that, right?
Yeah, I got to.
You got to try that. It might be disgusting, but
But at least you got to do it.
Again, you got the story, right?
Yeah.
So it's sheep's heart, liver, lungs, onion, oatmeal, suet, and spices. Woof. I know, but I got to try it. I got to try it.
You got to let me know. You got to let me know how it is.
Say, Charlie, what breakfast they serve in the hotel? I really don't know. I don't know. Charlie, who is subbing for you? I can tell you that Monday will be Lee Bright. He will be subbing for me that day, and that's basically all I know about that. So, but then we're going to go over to Ireland, and that is going to be where I have my first real, actual Guinness. And I'm going to do my best to split the G.
Yep. Yep.
Because when you take that first pull off your Guinness and you set the glass down, the separation between the beer and the foam is supposed to split the G in the word Guinness. So, hey, Charlie, it is so good. Reminds me of Scrapple. Scrapple's pretty good. I've had that. Charlie, I wonder about who comes up with these meals. Isn't that the truth? I mean, did they just... Hoodman, what do we got laying around here? All right, we got the heart, we got the liver, we've got...
I mean, that's literally what it is, though.
That's it.
It's about not wasting food. How can
Exactly
we consume
right.
this food?
Exactly right. Charlie, my puppy would bury that and pee on it. You're probably right. Charlie, they have the continental breakfast of around the globe. I'll have to see. I'll have to see what they got. I'm looking forward to it. And another thing I want to kind of brag about here for just a second. I am 1.3 pounds away from my goal.
Oh, congratulations, man.
1.3 pounds away from being 199 or under 200. We'll say that because that was the goal, to get under 200 pounds. I don't care if it's 199.9.
Hey, man, that's a huge victory.
1.3 pounds. I'm at 201.2 as of this morning. So
I'm happy for you, man.
I have not been this weight literally since 7th grade.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
pretty
You
crazy,
should be
isn't it?
proud of yourself.
Especially when you consider my highest weight ever was 329 pounds. There was a time where I was trying to get to 299. And now I'm trying to I got 1.3 pounds away from going to 199.
Well,
so
I'm
very
rooting
happy
for you,
about
man.
that. Hey, Charlie, all food is discovered either by someone who's hungry or by a chef on a dare. You're right. But in the case of haggis, you'd have to be really hungry. Charlie, that's the parts of the animal the king didn't want. You might be right. But I'm going to give it a try.
You
You got to do that. When in Rome or Scotland, we'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk. Charlie? Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking. News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So are you guys missing Tucker? I know my wife and I are. It really is. I mean, there's a void in our evening there where we would sit down and we would just watch Tucker for that hour. And then when he was off went the television, and we were getting everything ready to go to bed. But now it's just not there. So now that Tucker's not there, what are you guys watching? What is filling that position where Tucker Carlson used to be? Now, he released that Twitter message the other night, and it got more views than Fox News did. And it was only, I believe, it was 2 minutes and 16 seconds. A 2-minute, 16-second video beat Brian Kilmeade at Fox News handily by big numbers. And by the way, you know, you got to discount Friday night's ratings from Fox News because primetime Friday night is where ratings go to die. So what's taking the place of Tucker? Are you going to One America News? Is that where you're going? Are you going to Newsmax? Where is it? This person said, Charlie, I'm playing video games now with my boys. There you go. There you go. Family time. Good for you. Good for you. Nothing wrong with that. Charlie, I miss him. Yeah. I know. He was one of the people, one of the very few people on television that you could listen to and you knew it was not coming from a place of loyalty to that person. Right? And by the way, I mean, if you tune into Sean Hannity, you know what he's going to say. You know he's always going to have Lindsey Graham on. You know he's always going to do that and all of that. But there you go. You know all about that guy. So Tucker Carlson, he wasn't beholding to the military-industrial complex. He wasn't beholding to these people. You knew that, and I mean, he's partisan in as far as he's right-wing, but he's not partisan to candidates. Charlie, listen to Tucker's speech at Heritage, which is said to be the speech that got him fired. Well, I don't know how it would get him fired. Or maybe he knew something was coming. I don't know. I don't know. Charlie, he's perfectly objective. Yep. OANN is my go-to. I might have to start watching that. I might have to go check that out. Might have to go check. But I know that OAN has actually offered Tucker Carlson $25 million a year. $25 million to be on their network. Well, Megyn Kelly is, and I told you, this is exactly what I said a couple of nights ago, but Megyn Kelly is reiterating what I told you about contracts in the media, and listen to what she says.
I have a lot of thoughts about it. I want to, I think, break some news for you. Tucker Carlson hasn't actually been fired. He's still an employee of the Fox News Channel. What happened was Suzanne Scott called him, she's the CEO, on Monday morning and said he was not going to be allowed to do any more shows and that he had been kicked out of his company email. And now they're going to have to negotiate an exit. Some reporting to me suggests that she said it's going to be an amicable parting, right? Isn't it? Completely catching Tucker off guard. But Tucker's not fired. That's my information, that he still needs to negotiate the exit and that right now he's not free to launch a podcast or a digital show or negotiate with other employers at all because he's still under contract. They pulled his show off the air. They also fired his executive producer, Justin Wells. And though he tried to find out why, they wouldn't tell him. They refused to tell him why.
Well, I'm sure that'll come out eventually, but they could. They could hold Tucker to his contract and still not allow him on the air. And if they were to do that, it would keep Tucker off the air. He would not be able to do a podcast. He wouldn't be able to do any digital streaming. He might not even be able to go and do what he did the other night on Twitter until after the 2024 election. Think about that for a minute. He could be off the air that long because of his contract. Now, he's hired an attorney, and the attorney is going to be negotiating this exit. And hopefully he's back on the air in some way, shape, or form very soon. Because the guy just had too much to say. Too much to say. And Megyn Kelly, I mean, she's been on this. So she came to Tucker's defense the other night, and and Keith Olbermann said some negative things about Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly. She dragged his face across the parking lot. Listen to this.
Even Keith Olbermann was saying similar things, comparing Tucker to a Nazi. He also, for good measure, decided to tweet about me because I said Tucker is going to be better off without Fox, and said something to the effect of, "You got fired from Fox and NBC. What would you know about it?" So first of all, you misstate the circumstances of my departure from NBC, sir. That's all I'm allowed to say about it. And as for Fox, there were widely reported facts that I was offered $100 million to stay there. But the record's very clear that I left voluntarily because I wanted to raise my family, something you don't know anything about, because no one would marry you and you have no children. You have a cold, lonely life in which you become a bitter, bitter man, something I wouldn't know anything about because my life is joyful and I've managed to raise my own children. And someday I hope you have that pleasure, but I don't have high hopes it's going to happen. Even Keith Olbermann was.
She just took his face. She curb kicked him. That is exactly what she did. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It really got. Keith Olbermann is one of the most. I remember when he was in sports. Good gracious. He was actually decent. Charlie, I'm watching Bill O'Reilly on the first. I just have a thing about O'Reilly. I'm not a big fan. Never have been a big fan of O'Reilly. Sorry. Charlie, he can tell them to pound sand and lose $50 million and go make it back in 2 years. But he's not going to lose anything. I mean, the guy's worth what, $370 million? I think Tucker's okay. Charlie, I've canceled everything having to do with Fox, including my viewership. Good riddance. I think Fox is going to start realizing that they made a momentous mistake. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
lots of power. It's the right talk. Charlie? Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking. News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. We'll talk to Justin in Greer, I guess. Justin, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Greer.
Yeah.
I was calling because to me it seemed kind of obvious what was going on with Tucker with, knowing that Rupert Murdoch and wants to get rid of him. I think they just hired him so they could somewhat control what he said. But if you look into it, State Street Capital owns Dominion voting machines, and BlackRock owns State Street Capital.
Right.
So it wasn't hard for him to set up. They basically just looked at it as, this is the number that it's going to cost me to get rid of Tucker Carlson. They knew that his whole base is in love with him, so they had to have a really good reason. They sued themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So BlackRock sued themselves because BlackRock owns part of Dominion, and they own 15 point something million shares of Fox News. So they sued themselves.
Loosely. Yes, exactly.
Just kind of amazing that they would do that. But hey, listen, if Tucker Carlson, and that just shows how powerful Tucker was, right?
Yes, and it also shows how much of all these big companies are really just all part of the same beast.
Yeah.
And they all work within each other, and their options are endless.
They are.
Even if somebody's not owned by BlackRock, they want to be, so they're going to tote all that, diversity lines and all those lines.
Yeah.
So
you're exactly right.
Basically is already owned by BlackRock.
Yeah. You're right, Dustin. I appreciate you calling in. And I just so distinctly remember when I was talking about BlackRock, this is probably last year, sometime maybe even further back than that. And I was talking about how BlackRock was going into neighborhoods and they were buying up whole neighborhoods, not to sell the homes, but to rent them, because they don't want you owning a home. They want you renting from them. And I remember that texter was like, yeah, Charlie. Yeah, right. BlackRock is buying up old. Well, dang if I wasn't right again. Well, there you go. Let's go to Ron in Moore. I don't usually do this, but apparently Ron wants to sing a song this evening, and it's Friday. So I figured, what the heck. Ron, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, Ron. No, it's your birth anniversary, right? Birth anniversary. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Birth anniversary. Okay. But anyway, when I heard, where you're taking your trip.
Yep.
You're gonna have a great time.
I am.
I'm gonna sing you a little song.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do it a cappella.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
You got your green alligators and your long necked geese, your humpback camels and your chimpanzees. You're catching rats and elephants, and sure as you're born, you're never gonna see no unicorn.
There you go. All right, Ron, I appreciate it. Thank you, but I might see some unicorns in Ireland. I don't know. I know we got some rhinos in Colombia. Absolutely. So thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. And happy birth anniversary to you. Good job, big guy. All right, the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Central Timer Planning Text Line, 71307. Always love to chat with you folks this evening. NBC has basically come out and admitted that they censored an interview with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I didn't know that that's what NBC and news networks were supposed to do. I didn't know, but we know they do, right? We know that. I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. So they said that they censored this interview. Excuse me. that they censored this interview with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because he was saying, I'm sorry, I said it was NBC, it was ABC. They've admitted that they censored him because he was spreading untruths about the vaccine. Heavily censored, you see. So what did this guy say? What did he say in this interview with ABC? Well, he said that COVID vaccines do not prevent transmission of the virus. Guess what? He was right. He also said that the vaccines have caused death. Guess what? That's right. But the folks at ABC News have declared themselves the arbiter of information. They're the gatekeepers, you see. They censored this man. We used our editorial discretion. ABC reveals they censored extensive portions of their interview with RFK Jr. due to false claims about COVID-19 vaccines. That's what they said. Well, let's go ahead and let them tell you all about it.
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. Data shows that the COVID-19 vaccines prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths from the disease. He also made misleading claims about the relationship between vaccination and autism. Research shows that vaccines and the ingredients used for the vaccines do not cause autism, including multiple studies involving more than 1 million children and major medical associations like the American Academy of Pediatrics and the advocacy group Autism Speaks. We've used our editorial judgment and not including extended portions of that exchange in our interview.
Okay, but here's a big question there, sweetheart. Why was it okay for you to say it and not him? Why was it okay? So they get to decide what the truth is. Here's the truth. They want you on drugs. They want you on the drugs that they make. Understand that. There is a concerted effort right now, to do away with the health supplement industry. They want to do away with it because they know that certain supplements can help you in a lot of cases, but they don't want the natural supplements helping you. They want their pharmaceuticals helping you. They're actually coming out with a weight loss drug. That they're trying to push on people. New obesity drug, Mounjaro, is poised to upend weight loss care. As a growing number of overweight Americans clamor for Ozempic and Wegovy, drugs touted by celebrities and TikTok to shed pounds, and even more powerful obesity medicine is poised to upend treatment. Eli Lilly has come out with this drug. It was approved to treat type 2 diabetes under the brand name Mounjaro, helped people with the disease who were overweight or had obesity lose up to 16% of their body weight, or more than 34 pounds, over 17 months. Now think about that, 34 pounds in 17 months. That's what, 2 pounds a month? That's half pound a week? The late-stage study that drugs for weight loss adds to earlier evidence that similar participants without diabetes lost up to 22% of their body weight over that period. Notice, are they recommending eat right and exercise? No. They want you on their drugs. And they want to make these drugs as easy as humanly possible to get because they want you medicated. They've actually come up with an mRNA vaccine that is administered through a patch. Yeah, that's right, a patch. You need to be on as few drugs as possible, right? And how many times, what was that? Remember Fen-Phen? Wasn't it called Fen-Phen? That weight loss drug that all of a sudden caused all those problems? Yeah. They want you heavily medicated, and they want your kids medicated too. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
the GS Plumbing talk line. Now, 800-050-989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So, Tim, if you got an extra 800 grand laying around, as one does.
Yeah, it's right in my backyard.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I guess I'll get that. Here might be a really good thing to do. All right. You could have a really good meal for $800,000.
Oh, 800,000?
$800,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could have several great meals with
No,
that.
no. This particular meal is only one. It's about $132,000 per person.
Oh my God.
There's a company in France called Zafalto. They're going to start sending giant balloons to the edge of space, which has a capsule underneath it that fits up to 6 people. And if you want a private dinner, it's around 800 grand for the whole thing. So the whole trip lasts 6 hours. For the first 90 minutes, you ascend to around 15.5 miles up. That's 3 times higher than commercial airplanes fly. So once you're there, you get to hang out for 3 hours, have some dinner, have some drinks, and then slowly descend for another 90 minutes. So it's not really space. So you actually won't be weightless or anything like that. Space starts at around 60 miles up, but it will, you'll be above 98% of the atmosphere. So the whole sky is going to look black. 15 miles up, you're high enough to see the curvature of the earth. If you got a flat earth friend, it'd be a great present for them. They say the meals are going to be cooked by famous French chefs, but there won't be any cooks or servers on board. So it's just going to be 2 pilots. So it'll be a fancy reheated dinner. Sounds like airplane food. So the first flights are about 2 years out, but they've started letting people pre-book them. And if you got an extra $11,000 deposit, you're ready to go. Would you have? No.
I mean, I wouldn't spend that much to do that, even if I had it.
No, if I had it, I wouldn't do it. Not because of the money, because I don't want to be 15.5 miles up in a balloon.
Oh, wait, it's like a hot air balloon?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
See, I thought it was some kind of like space capsule or something.
No. You're in a hot air balloon. It's a specialized hot air balloon or helium balloon or whatever they're going to fill it with, whatever gas. They're going to send you up 15.5 miles in the air.
I wouldn't even do it for $1.
And you're going to be
I wouldn't.
like, hey, Tim, for $1, you could go to the edge of space.
Nope.
I'm with you on that one.
I mean, I'm in it until gravity is no longer in effect.
Well, that's the thing. You don't go up high enough to be released from gravity.
Well, see, I'm going to go that high so I don't fall.
Right.
Yeah.
At least that when you're weightless, you don't fall, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you're going to.
I would do it then. But if I'm still able to fall, no, not doing it.
Because think about this. If something happens, that's a long time to think about it.
That really is.
Am I right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's
that's
long time. I mean, you can only scream for so long, and then you're like, oh, man.
I mean, how long does it take to fall to your death?
I have no
from that
idea.
high? How high is it?
I have no idea. 15.5 miles.
All right.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it in a balloon. Like
Uh-uh.
I don't even like riding Ferris wheels.
Oh.
Much less a balloon.
Have you ever been up in a hot air balloon? I take it not.
No.
I've been up in a hot air balloon. They're kind of cool. But we were only about, I'm going to guess, maybe 500 feet up.
See,
Maybe more than that. We might have been 1,000.
I could do maybe like, I don't know, 50 to like 100 feet or something. I couldn't go that high. I would like pass out or something.
Once you're up there and you realize that you're not there's only one way to get down, you kind of start accepting it in the hot air balloon.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to.
So
I'd probably be curled up, like sitting down,
just
in the fetal position.
Thought of that. 15 and a half miles up.
I hate heights. Ugh.
And then once you have dinner, here's some dinner. No, thank you.
I mean, how big is this hot air balloon?
I have no idea.
You can only fit how many people in there?
6. Well, I guess it's going to be 8 because it's 6 guests and 2 pilots. Pilots, whatever they're doing.
You flicking a lighter?
Yeah. Anybody want to light up? Anybody want to smoke? No, that is
That's
not
what a hot air balloon is. They just, flick it on, flick it off. Right?
It's a pretty darn big balloon.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I'm looking at a picture of it right now, or a mock-up of this thing, and it's no. The answer is no. It'll take you on a voyage to the stratosphere in 2025.
You couldn't pay me to do that, much less me pay somebody.
No, you could not. That's ridiculous. I don't know what those people in the 30s or whenever it was were thinking when they were going up in those Zeppelins, the blimps.
Oh yeah, dude, those things are slow.
They're very slow.
I mean, could you just imagine like moving through the sky?
Yeah, it would take them a long time.
At a snail's pace.
I got to ride in a blimp one time. And it was not the Goodyear blimp, but it was the SeaWorld blimp. Shamu, the killer whale, that blimp. And I went up in that thing, and this was a pretty small hot air balloon. All right. So the gondola where you are is underneath the balloon, and that's got these propellers on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when the propeller moves, it doesn't move everything at the same time. The gondola goes first, and then the balloon kind of tilts up, and then it comes down, and then it's up and down and up and down. I literally thought for a moment I would be better off if I just jumped.
So like it nose dives down and then comes back up like a dolphin?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't
It
do
is
it.
the most horrible thing that I've ever experienced in my life. It was awful. I've never been on a plane that was anywhere near that bad. I will never go on a blimp again.
Do planes do that? I hope not.
No, they don't do that. Might get a little turbulence, and that'll make you. That's got a significant pucker factor there. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas, with our feet on the ground.
98.9
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you along with us. Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. Only thing, got to figure out what to watch this weekend. We've been watching Perry Mason over on HBO Max. That's really good. And then there's another show that we watch called Dog Leash. It's a funny name. This guy's name is an Irish investigator, so might start watching that this weekend. But whatever you do this weekend, get out there and have yourself a good time because we got enough craziness going on in the world. We've been talking about it today. Dylan Mulvaney is calling for folks like me and you to be arrested.
Like the articles written about me using he pronouns and calling me a man over and over again. And I feel like that should be illegal. I don't know. That's just bad journalism.
Oh, did your viewings hurt? Did you get offended because somebody actually states your biological sex? Oh, how many times did Dylan Mulvaney appear on television as a man? Oh, he's on The Price is Right. He was on Ellen's show. Yeah, this guy is just an attention. You know what? That's all he wants is attention. And he'll do anything to get it. Anything. So, sorry, Dylan. You're a guy. You are a man. That's why the hashtag "you are a man" was all over Twitter today. And I'm glad it was. It's still trending with 49,000 tweets so far. 49,000 tweets. Dylan Mulvaney, you are a man. That's awesome. Good. Because you're doing a bad parody of women. So why do we need this stopped? Okay, listen to this. You know Riley Gaines. She was the swimmer that says, hey, listen, biological males should not be competing with biological females. And even Martina Navratilova is in on this. Billie Jean King, not so much. Well, there's a transgender student at a high school in Riverside, California, who assaulted multiple girls after exposing his genitals and spitting at girls in the girls' locker room. According to a student witness, the transgender boy entered the girls' locker room and after being confronted for being there, spat at a group of girls and he exposed himself to them. One young woman said, he spit on my friends that are girls, females. He shows his genitals in the locker room. Well, a fight ensued outside between one of the victims, the female victims, the actual female victims, and this transgender boy. But here's the thing about it. There's nothing about this transgender boy that would give you the idea that he's transgender. He's not dressed like a girl, doesn't have his hair cut like a girl, certainly not acting like a girl. He's just identifying as a girl. And that's where the craziness is. You don't have to change your lifestyle. You don't have to wear certain clothes. You don't have to put on makeup like male Maybelline. No, you just identify. Well, thankfully, the transgender student has now been removed from Riverside's Martin Luther King High School. Thankfully. Because he's violent. He's deranged. And I don't know of a better way to say it. I mean, these people that are identifying like this, you need some help. And you need to stop. Parents, adults, grown-ups need to stop enabling them. Stop it. Because this is getting out of hand. And you just take out of the equation the males competing against females. Okay, just take that out. Set that aside for a second. This kind of stuff, the attacks on actual biological women by men. Remember that? Wasn't it Penn, University of Pennsylvania? That they had a male that wanted to use the female locker room. Well, the biological females complained about it. the real ones. They complained about it. Guess who they kicked out of the locker room? The women. They kicked them out. So now this guy gets to go into the locker room all by himself. I'm sure that's not really what he wanted. He kind of got his jollies from being in there with the women. And then we hear, what is this, Will Thompson, the swimmer? How many people had to testify that Will Thompson would parade around half naked in the locker room? Saw a story today, may have been yesterday, that men have to speak out against this. Oh, I disagree. I disagree. Because men have been speaking out against it. Men have been. Who hasn't been speaking out against it is the white suburban female. Now, I know some of you have. I understand that. I know I'm painting with a pretty broad brush. But the white suburban female is the largest Democrat voter base. And they have been silent. It's the women, it's the female athletes that are going to have to start standing up, or nothing's going to change. When the whistle blows or the starting gun fires, you need to just not participate. Stop participating in protest. It's not going to take that long. It's really not. And I know you're going to be hurting yourself, but there's got to come a time where you stand up and you have to do what's right, even if it means it hurts you for a little bit. You got to do it. Females have got to stop participating in sports that allow biological men to participate in their categories, or it's just going to keep happening. 361 is weighing in. Yeah, you people on the right, it's always got to find something to bitch about. Oh, well, so I guess you're okay with it. You're okay with it. So that's right. Yeah, Charlie, but Dylan Mulvaney is not competing in women's competitive sports. Well, how about that? But he is competing against women for marketing dollars from companies like Maybelline and Nike and Bud Light, which, by the way, they're coming up with Budweiser coming up with a brand new campaign to kind of heal the damage. Not going to happen. All of these other corporations that have signed on with Dylan Mulvaney, that is marketing money that can actually go to a biological male, 361. Don't you understand this? Is this too complex for you? Probably. 232 says, Charlie, your 100,000 watts of power is now in those women's ears. I hope so. They need to listen. I want you to have a great weekend. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll be right back here on Monday. All right. Mark Levin's coming up next. As always, you were fun this afternoon. We appreciate it. We love you. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.